Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm talking to you about the hottest comics coming out August 10th, 2022. But first, please be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what you're picking up this week. I am super stoked to talk about some of these. Kind of like always, you know me, I just love comics. So, I'm going to talk about my top 10 picks, starting with number 10, Axe Judgment Day number 2. Now, this is the Marvel event that's going on right now, and I had low standards for this because I felt like, man, the Eternals, they're kind of being rude to the X-Men and kind of are attacking them because they're mutants, calling them deviants. But now that I've read this, I have a big problem with the X-Men as of right now. There is a lot of plot holes, there is a lot of meaningless storylines, and most of all, I feel like there is no stakes to them. The fact that they can just, get reborn back up again and again no matter what happens, it kind of just like loses its purpose. Well, that's why the Eternals see them as deviants. The fact that they can keep coming back to life is a problem in the way the Earth works. So the fact that the Eternals want to destroy them, kind of on their side now. So I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. I love the men and women axe variants. I think those are really interesting and cool. So those are the ones I'm picking up, and I'm excited to see where this goes. In my number 9 spot, it's going to go to Deadliest Bouquet number 1. This is a mini-series out of 5 from brand new Image title, and to me this one actually piqued my interest because it kind of reminds me of like a Charlie's Angels Charmed vibe. So when this mother ends up being murdered, her 3 daughters are now trained to battle in espionage and find their mother's killer. So they are on the route. Their names are Rose, Poppy, and Violet, which are all just like, bouquet of flowers, all flower names, which I think very cool. And if they can, work together and find their mother's murder, that's great. But it sounds like there's going to be a lot of family trauma involved. So to me, this sounds like a really interesting, fun take on like a Charlie's Angels playoff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. On my number 8 spot, it's going to go to Punisher number 5. I think Jason Aaron's doing a great job at this Punisher. I did not expect a lot from this, but honestly, it's become one of my favorites to read every time it comes out. So this issue in particular, it looks like Frank Castle's finally going to start recognizing maybe I'm not the leader of the hand after all. Maybe they're just feeding me lies and really have me captive as prisoner here. And they're making me do their bidding by saying that I am the leader, but I'm actually not. So he's not going to be happy when he finds out that the hand is essentially just brainwashing him the same way they brainwash everyone else. So honestly, I'm really stoked for this. I love the flashbacks, and I am not a flashback person, but these flashbacks are so meaningful, and the fact that they changed the artist as well really emphasizes that it's a flashback, and I really appreciate that. So really interested in seeing how that goes down. In my number 7 spot, it's going to go to Samurai Doggy number 1. Now, this is an Aftershock comic, and if your store ordered 15 or more copies, there's a 1 in 15 of there, done by the amazingly talented Juan Do, who is one of my absolute favorites. So definitely checking this out. This is written by Chris Tex and drawn by Santos. So they've done, Chris Tex wrote a book called Blackout, and Santos did the art for Land of the Living Gods, which was a really big hit up the Aftershock once it came out. So really looking forward to this, not just because of the title, not just because there's a doggy in it, but it actually sounds pretty interesting. This small dog gets his whole family stolen from him. His mother died, his 8 siblings taken, and he was able to escape this monstrosity of a man that did this to him. Well, once he gets saved by this mechanical vulture in the desert and gets brought up to be this samurai doggy, he is now on the hunt for this man, for revenge, and hopefully to find his family again. And, to me, it's kind of like Taken meets John Wick meets, I don't really know, but I am honestly all for this. This art looks really cool. The story sounds really interesting. The world seems really interesting as well. It's kind of like a Westerlands type mechanic, cyberpunky looking world mixed with like a little Japan era, and I'm digging this. So can't wait to see how that turns out. My number 6 spot goes to Dark Crisis, Worlds Without a Justice League, Green Lantern #1. Now, this one, I don't know how I feel about this, but I had to put it on my list because I really wanted to talk about it. It deals with once Parai has gone into effect and has created this great darkness, that the Emerald Knight, John Stewart, the Green Lantern of them all, comes and tries to save the day and bring new will to this place. However, he has Red Hood and Kyle Rayner with him. The fact that Red Hood is like a Green Lantern in this is a little weird to me. I just don't picture Red Hood as a Green Lantern. He's very aggressive. I love Red Hood, but he is very, emotional driven. He is very fight oriented, and I just see him more as like a Red Lantern with all of his anger and hatred that is filled with him. He's called Red Hood. It's just a little strange to me that he would be a Green Lantern, but you know what? I gotta read this. I gotta take into effect that it's like this otherworldly storyline event, but I don't know what to think of this. So, I'll let you know once I read it, though, and let you know how I truly feel about it, because, yeah, I need to find out what's going on here. As for my number 5th spot, it's gonna go to Predator #1. Now, this comic was supposed to come out so long ago, and it kept getting pushed back due to copyright reasons. Well, finally, Marvel has the rights to Predator, and we're getting a new Predator #1, written by Ed Bryson and drawn by Kevin Walker. And this one sounds interesting. It sounds like a tale of revenge as well, about a young girl whose father was murdered in front of her by a predator. Now she's on the hunt to kill this predator, or kill herself. So it sounds like a gruesome tale, and with the new Predator movie Prey just releasing on Hulu, what better timing for this comic? I feel like it's going to be a really cool issue. Plus, you get the amazing Scotty Young cover that I just absolutely love, and yeah, it seems like a really fun time, and I'm really excited. As for my number 4 spot, it's going to go to Ghost Rider Vengeance Forever #1. Now, this is a one-shot, it looks like, still ran by Ben Percy, but it's going to have to deal with Johnny Blaze going and seeking out a seer. This seer is a tattoo artist that uses his needles to bring the dark truths to this earth. So, seems a really cool concept in my opinion, and there's some really cool covers. There is a specific cover that I want to talk about. It is a Diamond PX cover, and it was limited to only 4,000 copies, and so it's going to be very hard to get this cover, especially there's about 3,500 Diamond accounts, so that's like maybe a little more than one per store, so gonna be kind of challenging getting this, but it's a really cool cover. It's a Laraz, and if you want it, I highly recommend going to your comic book store early in the morning. In my number 3 spot, it's going to go to none other than 8 Billion Genies #4. Now, I've been talking about this comic since issue #1. I love Charles Soule and Ryan Brown together. Their Curse Words team was amazing. And now 8 Billion Genies is doing just that. It's making its name for itself, and I'm so excited. If you missed out on issues 2 and 3, there's also going to be reprints for those this week. So, better pick them all up, because trust me, this is one to read. It is not only funny and humorous, but it is very different and unique, and it always keeps me on my toes wondering what's going to happen next. And in this issue, of course, we're focusing more on people who've wished about superpowers and superheroes. So there's amazing Christian Ward Superman homage cover that I absolutely love, and I just love the little genies. I love how each one's so unique and different, and yeah, I'm really excited to see the first 8 weeks in this issue. In my number 2 spot, It's gonna go to Deceased, War of the Undead Gods #1. This is the last Deceased, the final conclusion. And I mean, I am stoked, but I'm nervous. I'm excited, but I'm sad. I have a lot of emotions for this. I really like Deceased. I always saw Deceased maybe as like a gimmick, but then once it came out and I read it, it was incredible. It was so meaningful and impactful, and it had such these relationships that I absolutely loved. And hopefully this one picks up right where Dead Planet left off, with the one, the only dark side as a zombie. So we're going to be seeing more of that, plus the anti-life equation and how this all makes Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman actually team up and save the day. I'm incredibly excited for. There's some super cool covers. There's an acetate cover, which there will be an acetate cover every single issue. There's also a really interesting body bag cover, which is going to be the Matina cover. And that one's a really interesting cover as well. It looks just like the 1 in 25 Matina. However, it has like all this blood on her, and it looks really, really interesting. Plus, they're still doing their homage covers, but this time it's X-Men. I do find that a little weird. However, I'm still super excited. Now, before I end this, my #1, which you guys probably might already know, I'm going to do a couple of announcements. There's also going to be a new 007 #1 written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, if you're into James Bond. Avengers #59. This one, there keeps being more and more unique multiverse characters, and you never know what's going to happen with those characters, so I would be on the lookout for that. Avengers Moon Girl #1. These Moon Girl titles have been pretty fun issues, one-shots that kind of tie in, but kind of don't. But still, it could be really, really fun comic. Harley Quinn #19, keeping up those homage covers with that really, really nice Ryan Sook. Really excited for that. Miss Marvel Wolverine #1. Now, this is another, like the Moon Girl, it's another one-shot that will keep tying in briefly with other one-shots. And Unnatural Blue Blood #2 also comes out. Mirka, my girl, I love you. I love all your work, and I'm really excited to see this. As for my #1 spot, it's going to go to none other than Love Everlasting #1. Now, I love Tom King. I think Tom King's amazing, and I'm just so excited he's doing independent work. Sheriff of Babylon's one of my favorites from him, so I'm so excited that he's doing this one. And this one seems to be something that he has not really done too much of, which makes me even more interested. It's drawn by Elsa Charlerer. I hope I got that right, because I really love her art. I think her art is fantastic. And honestly, this seems like such a old school romance comic, and you know, I really dig that. I think this comic is going to be a sleeper, in my opinion. It seems like this girl is going to be set in this frightening fantasy world where she keeps getting entrapped in these love stories, and she's trying to escape, but she's meant to marry the man in the story, and she's meant to have this happy ever after, but then when she leaves, she goes into another romance story, and it sounds so unique and so cool. I love the covers, especially that Clay Mann cover. It just reminds me of old school romance with like Fabio on the cover and stuff. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this comic plays out. It could be a very fun ride, and yes, I'm hoping for the best. So that's going to be my top 10 comics releasing this week, but there's going to be so many more comics at your local comic store shop if you just go this Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. Have a great day.